Along with a few other notable gaming franchises, Metroid celebrates its 40th anniversary this year, and although the series is more seemingly niche amongst its peers, it has set quite a bit of groundwork since its inception. What is Metroid? How has it evolved over the years, and what impact has it had on the gaming industry as a whole? We'll get into all of that and more today, so grab your grapple beam and settle in. Metroid is, at its core, a sci-fi action-adventure series starring the female protagonist, Samus Aran. The game focuses on atmospheric exploration, non-linear progression, and shooter-style platforming. Metroid was originally released in August of 1986 in Japan on the Famicom Disk System. A year later, in 1987, made its way to North America on the NES, and lastly to Europe in 1988. The original game gives you a brief message about your mission stating, "Emergency order. Defeat the Metroid of the planet Zebes and destroy the Mother Brain, the mechanical life vein, Galaxy Federal Police, M510. Now, you may notice that I pronounced Zebeth as Zebes, and the reason why is because Zebeth is actually a mistranslation in the game, but in the manual and in all later games, the spelling is corrected as Zebes. The pronunciation of this word has also been tossed around quite a bit, but in Metroid Other M, at the beginning of the game, Samus talks about her time on the planet and gives a canonical pronunciation.
And the explosion that followed destroyed planet Zebes, along with the remains of Mother Brain.
Back to the original game, after hitting the start button, Samus is transported to the starting area below the surface of Zebes within Brinstar, an underground alien jungle and cavernous region. There are no instructions on how to play. There's no on-screen indicator of which way to go. It's just you, your D-pad, and the A and B buttons of the original NES controller in a wide-open space to move around in. But as soon as you move, enemy types appear on screen, and you soon learn that you'll be shooting at basically anything that moves. One of the very first things that you'll do in the very first Metroid game sets up not only the core mechanic of this game, but of many other games made following its release. By walking to the left, Samus can pick up the first progression-blocked power-up, the Morph Ball. With it, she can now turn into a ball shape and roll around to fit through tight spaces. Without it, Samus would ultimately need to backtrack around to the starting area to collect it in order to proceed through the rest of the game. Metroid wasn't the first game to introduce this 2D, side-scrolling, platforming, progression-blocked power-up concept, but was the most notable alongside another game released in 1986, Castlevania. Developed and published by Konami, the first Castlevania had some very similar qualities to Metroid. Both were action-adventure platformer games featuring interconnected nonlinear maps, exploration, and ability-locked progression, as well as both being released on the same consoles in the same years, only months apart. It's almost as if Konami and Nintendo were friends, which they kind of were. But when it comes to the concept of a Metroidvania, that term would not come about for a little over a decade after the two magnum opus games of their respective franchises would come out, Super Metroid in 1994 and Castlevania Symphony of the Night in 1997. Although the assistant director for Symphony of the Night, Koji Igarashi, has since clarified that it was actually the original Legend of Zelda series that inspired the Castlevania games. The gameplay similarities to Metroid were a better fit for fans, and the term stuck. From its 2D side-scrolling beginnings, Metroid has gone on to have a total of 15 titles within its franchise. 9 mainline titles, 5 of which are side-scrolling 2D adventures, and the 4 Prime games, 2 remakes of previous titles being Metroid Zero Mission on the Game Boy Advance, a remake of the first Metroid, and Metroid Samus Returns on the 3DS, a remake of Metroid 2, Return of Samus from the original Game Boy. The franchise has also had 4 spin-off games, none of which were highly acclaimed by fans, with one surprising exception being Metroid Prime Pinball for the Nintendo DS, a retelling of Metroid Prime through pinball gameplay. Like most other gaming franchises, Metroid started with a basic concept, and over the years has evolved with quite a bit of lore and development of characters and locations. Samus's design alone has come quite a long way since the original game and game art. She went from being a rather clunky and bland-looking design to one of the most iconic character designs in all of gaming. Along with the step into the third dimension with the Prime series titles, even the 2D-style Metroid games have seen a major improvement with Samus Returns and Metroid Dread. These titles take the 2D core elements and represent them with stunning 3D graphics. These are my personal two favorite games in the series since they represent that perfect Metroid essence while delivering beautiful visuals that the series is known for. I would personally love an HD version of Samus Returns for the Switch or Switch 2, but at least I still have my 3DS and can load it up whenever I'd like. And for the Prime series, although the visuals have come such a long way from the initial trilogy, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond has a fair amount of criticism for its rather annoying forced NPC interactions. Barren Hyrule Field-style desert that also needs to be interacted with in order to get from one location to the other, as well as collect crystals, and its rather linear structure, limiting the overall exploration the series is best known for. As mentioned earlier, the franchise, while popular, is still rather niche. There are likely few gamers who haven't at least played a Metroid game, and even fewer that haven't heard the name Metroid. But for lovers of sci-fi adventures and combat shooter games, Metroid is the complete package. And for people in general who just enjoy beautiful design, Metroid is a blessing from the Nintendo gods. The alien worlds presented in the series are rich with detail, life, and color. Some areas can be dark, cold, and mysterious, while others are bright, full of atmosphere and life, and every area, minus maybe Soul Valley, is packed with details, unique design elements, and an artistic flair that tie all of the games together. The creatures and bosses all have uniquely alien appearances, from colorful flying critters and kamikaze dive-bombing demons to slow and spiky oversized insects. There is quite a varied world of life forms to encounter. The titular creature you'll meet on your adventures, the Metroids themselves, are an awesome-looking alien life form that is essentially a jellyfish-like organism whose three-part brain can be seen inside of its gelatinous exterior hood, with a set of gripping claws in place of tentacles. There have been several boss types throughout the series, and some repeat offenders like Mother Brain and Kraid, but the biggest standout would have to be Ridley, a large, purple dragon alien creature with a pterodactyl-like head, massive wings, and a long spear-tipped tail. His anatomy often features exposed muscle tissue, bony skeletal exterior, sharp claws, a hunched posture, and the ability to breathe fire or plasma. The star of the show, however, is Samus and her incredible power suits. Her silhouette alone could give her away with the tightly cinched waistline, bulky hip and calf armor, pointed knee guards, a blaster cannon for a right arm, her iconic helmet design, and the big, bulbous, mechanical shoulder pads that not only provide a visual distinction between different stages of suit upgrades, but also serve functional in-game purposes such as regulating temperature, storing energy, and enhancing protection. The colors of Samus's suit also serve a purpose. Being warmer, brighter tones of yellows, oranges, and reds, her suit tends to contrast and pop out from the dark, cooler tones of the majority of environments across the series. The juxtaposition of her sleek, bright mech suit on a dark, organic backdrop provides visual harmony that keeps fans wanting to come back time and time again. The duality of the aesthetic visuals paired with fantastic game mechanics is also the formula that many game designers seek to replicate. In its 40 years of existence, there have been a lot of games that have taken the Metroid or Metroidvania approach to their titles, and have had great successes. Games like Hollow Knight and Silksong, the Ori titles, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, and the roguelike Metroidvania, Dead Cells, have all taken note from the 2D journeys of the heroine bounty hunter and made a name for themselves. Even the jump to 3D Prime games have set the bar for some game designers. From the HUD view elements that seem to have inspired titles like Fallout 4, Dead Space, the newer Doom titles, and BioShock, to scanning your environments and building databases like Subnautica and Outer Wilds. Even titles like Returnal, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and Batman Arkham Asylum are said to have a Metroid Prime-style approach between structure, atmosphere, and large, interconnected worlds. One game explicitly inspired by Metroid Prime 2 echoes is High on Life. The shooter features Metroidvania-style progression, scanning, and unlocking new tools to backtrack through the interconnected areas. Though Metroid has been a pinnacle of inspiration for so many games that have done so well, the series itself hasn't seen the same kind of luck. Metroid Dread was the best-selling game to date from the franchise, with just over 3 million copies sold, but that pales in comparison to the juggernaut of sales from Dead Cells, the Ori titles, and the king of Metroidvanias, Hollow Knight, coming in at 15 million plus copies sold. So why is it that Metroid games don't sell as well? Well, there's a few things at play there. Remember what I said about it being a niche series? Sometimes that's a good thing, and other times, not so much. Sci-fi is cool, but with its lonely and oppressive settings, dark and grotesque characters, and slower-paced exploratory formula, Metroid games lose out on consumers who are looking for a more cute, lively, and colorful fun escape from life, and the series does especially poorly in its homeland of Japan due to these issues, since its focus is more on a Western audience. The backtracking, exploratory, and difficulty scales of the games can also be alienating to wider audiences, and also frustrating for casual fans of the series. If they got lost in the last Metroid game and gave up, there's a chance they won't be buying the next one. Nintendo also hasn't been the best at giving us releases of these games, and when they have, the marketing behind them hasn't been up to the same standards as their other franchises. Many Metroid games are released at the end of a console's lifecycle, and there are incredibly long gaps between releases. And lastly, is the sole fact that unlike Metroidvanias that have outpaced the series by several miles, Metroid games are exclusive only to Nintendo platforms, so even if someone saw the games and wanted to play them, if they only had a PlayStation, Xbox, or PC, they'd have to play the games that were the most similar to Metroid and not those actual titles. What does the future of the Metroid series look like from here? That's a little hard to say. The newest entry, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, was a highly anticipated game, coming a full 18 years after the initial trilogy, and has had the worst numbers thus far, with initial sales outcasts looking rather dismal, to its Metacritic score being the second to worst Prime score, right above the most disliked Metroid game, Federation Force for the 3DS. Could it be possible that Nintendo just gives up on the series altogether? Probably not. Since Dread did so well, I can fully see more 2D Metroid games releasing, and with other Prime games selling well enough, I could see them going for another Prime spin-off title just to keep it alive, or trying to return to the Prime 1 formula that worked so well, but it'll be a while for either of those things to happen. The best-selling Nintendo IPs have seen more things like theme parks, movies, animated shorts, and tons of merchandise support, and although Metroid is a very well-known IP, it doesn't even make the top 10 list of best-selling Nintendo franchises. Even Duck Hunt, just the one game alone, in its lifetime has sold 7 million more copies than all of the Metroid games combined. Would it be awesome to see a Metroid movie or episodic TV series? Absolutely, I would love it. Would it be amazing to get to walk around inside of Samus's ship or explore Brinstar and Fury Green in a Metroid expansion of their Universal theme parks? 1000% yes. But will any of these things actually happen? Probably not. I don't foresee Metroid becoming the next forgotten IP like Star Fox, Kid Icarus, or F-Zero. However, Nintendo is a business, and they must make decisions that are best for the company. If they feel that investing heavily in a series that may not perform as well as others could be a problem, they might choose to scale back, or even discontinue it. Only time will tell. Anyhow, thank you for sticking around for the entirety of this Metroid deep dive. Are you a fan of the series? If so, what are some of your favorite Metroid titles? Have you played other Metroidvanias without ever even touching an actual Metroid or Castlevania game? Also, let me know about other ways you think Nintendo could help prop up this IP. Maybe a film series would be the way to breathe some life back into it. I'd love to hear all of your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and if you haven't already, also be sure to subscribe to the channel for more design-focused gaming content. As always, I really do appreciate you all taking the time to watch, and I'll see you next time.